Imagine waking up one morning and finding an entire city, its people, its buildings, its history, completely gone. No sound, no sign, just emptiness where life used to be. What could erase a city overnight? They say cities don't just disappear, but one night, one city did. It started like any ordinary evening. Streetlights flickered on, shops began to close, and families settled in for the night. No one knew that by morning, everything they knew would be gone. When sunrise came, a delivery driver passing through the valley noticed something strange. The highway that used to lead straight into the city was now swallowed by fog. Thick, silent fog. He drove further, thinking it was just early morning mist. But as he crossed the bridge that once overlooked the city, there was nothing. No buildings, no roads, no smoke rising from chimneys, just an empty stretch of land covered in dust and silence. At first, people thought it was a mistake. Maybe he had taken the wrong turn, or maybe a landslide had covered everything. But satellite images confirmed what no one could believe. The entire city was gone, erased. Police teams were sent immediately. Helicopters flew overhead, searching for signs of life, but the coordinates showed only barren ground. The strange part? All the power lines, train tracks, and roads that once connected to the city now ended abruptly, like someone had cleanly cut them off with a knife. And here's where it gets even stranger. The city was home to nearly 50,000 people. Not one of them was ever found. No footprints, no remains, no belongings. Just empty outlines of where buildings once stood, like ghosts of foundations buried under dust. Reporters arrived, scientists tried to explain it, but how do you explain a place that no longer exists? For the families of those who lived there, the horror wasn't just that their loved ones were missing. It was that the world was acting like the city never existed at all. Old maps were suddenly blank. Government records began to disappear. And those who claimed to remember the city started receiving warnings to stay silent. Something, or someone, didn't want the truth getting out.
Before the city vanished, there were signs, but no one understood them until it was too late. In the days leading up to the disappearance, residents had reported strange happenings. Phones began to lose signal only within the city limits. Streetlights flickered at the exact same time every night, like they were blinking in a pattern. Dogs barked endlessly at empty corners, and birds stopped flying over the rooftops entirely. At first, people joked about it. They said the city was haunted, cursed, or maybe just unlucky. But soon, laughter turned into fear. On the night before it happened, security cameras across several neighborhoods captured something disturbing. At exactly 11:47 p.m., all recordings went dark for 30 seconds. When the footage returned, the streets were empty, cars left running, doors wide open, lights still on, but not a single person in sight. Emergency lines started ringing. Witnesses from nearby towns said they saw a strange red glow rising from the city, like a storm made of fire and smoke. Some described hearing a low humming sound, deep enough to rattle glass windows from miles away. Others said the air itself began to vibrate, like the world was holding its breath. And then came the final call. At 11:59 p.m., a woman named Elena Maris, a nurse working the late shift at the city hospital, made a desperate phone call to her sister in another town. Her last words were, The ground is moving. It's not an earthquake. Something's opening up. Then silence. That was the last anyone ever heard from her or anyone inside the city. By midnight, every light in the valley went out. The red glow vanished, and when the sun rose, the city was gone. Those who lived nearby swore the air smelled like burnt metal for days afterward. Others claimed they could still hear faint echoes, sirens, screams, even laughter coming from the empty plain where the city once stood, almost like it wasn't really gone, just hidden. By sunrise, the world knew something was wrong. A whole city had disappeared, and no one could explain how. Rescue teams were the first to arrive. Helicopters circled the valley, expecting to see wreckage, maybe signs of an earthquake or a massive sinkhole. But what they saw instead was nothing. No debris, no damage, no trace that a single brick had ever stood there. The ground where the city once existed was unnaturally smooth, almost polished. The soil was cold to the touch, like something had drained the warmth right out of it. Even the birds avoided flying over it. They circled high above, crying out like they sensed something we couldn't see. When the first search team entered the area, their radios began to fail. Static, broken voices, sudden silence. The further they went in, the stronger the interference grew, until the signals completely vanished. Minutes later, one of the helicopters hovering above reported something chilling. From the air, they could see shadows on the ground, faint, human-shaped outlines, almost like burn marks where people once stood. Investigators collected soil samples, but every lab test came back the same. No signs of chemical reaction, no heat damage, no radiation. Whatever happened here didn't follow the rules of nature. Journalists who tried to report the story were stopped. The footage they filmed inside the valley was confiscated by authorities within hours. When asked about it, government officials claimed the area was unsafe due to toxic gas exposure. But those who had been there knew that was a lie, because there was no smell, no gas, no wind at all. The silence there was unnatural. No echo, no birds, no insects. Just a hollow emptiness that made even the bravest rescue worker want to leave. Some said they heard whispers, voices carried on the still air calling names that no one recognized. Others swore they saw figures moving in the distance, only for them to fade when approached. After 72 hours, the search was officially called off. The official statement said, "No survivors, no evidence of structural remains." But one investigator, before being removed from the case, wrote a single line in his final report. "The city isn't gone. It's hidden. Somewhere between now and never."
When news of the vanished city spread, the world went silent, then wild with speculation. Some scientists tried to stay grounded, suggesting natural disasters, a sudden sinkhole, a volcanic eruption, or a massive earthquake. But experts quickly dismissed these ideas. Satellite images showed no geological disturbances. There were no cracks, no lava, no tectonic activity. Nature had not taken the city. It had been erased. Then came the conspiracies. Some said the government had experimented with a new weapon capable of folding reality, a machine so powerful it could make an entire city disappear. But if that were true, why erase only one city? And why leave no trace at all? Others turned to the unexplained. Paranormal investigators spoke of a temporal rift, a tear in time. According to them, the city hadn't vanished into thin air. It had been pulled into another dimension, a place outside of time, where nothing aged, nothing grew, and nothing escaped. Alien abduction theories also surfaced. Could a highly advanced civilization have simply taken the city, people and all, for observation? Witnesses who lived nearby reported strange lights in the sky on the night of the disappearance, moving faster than anything known on Earth. Some even claimed to see a shimmering dome hovering over the valley, bright enough to cast shadows. And then there were the old legends. Folklore from the surrounding regions spoke of cursed lands, places that swallowed entire settlements for punishment for some forgotten sin. Historians scoffed, but when researchers dug through old manuscripts, they discovered references to a city that had disappeared centuries ago, in the exact same location. Each theory was wilder than the last, and yet none could fully explain the silence, the empty outlines of buildings, or the missing 50,000 people. Perhaps the most chilling theory of all came from a retired detective. Whatever happened here wasn't natural. It wasn't human, and it wasn't over. The city is waiting, somewhere, for the world to forget it completely. The mystery had become a global obsession. Every news outlet, every social media thread, every late-night discussion revolved around one question. Where did the city go? And could it ever return?
Even after the city vanished, there were signs, subtle, strange, and impossible to ignore. Investigators who returned to the area months later found remnants that didn't make sense. A single shoe, perfectly clean, lying in the middle of the empty plain. A child's backpack, unopened, with a notebook inside, the last entry dated the night the city disappeared. Something is coming. It's hungry. Don't sleep. Satellite images, when carefully analyzed, revealed faint outlines, impossible to see with the naked eye, of streets and building layouts, almost like the city was still there, just out of reach. Even stranger, electronic devices started behaving oddly near the site. Cameras would record static shapes moving in the distance. Radios picked up voices calling names no one alive recognized. Phones would ring with numbers that no longer existed. Locals reported seeing fleeting shadows, glimpses of people walking, only to vanish the moment they tried to get closer. Trees and grass in the area seemed unnaturally still, almost as if something was holding the air itself in place. And then there were the warning signs, cryptic graffiti appearing on rocks and walls near the valley, messages written in multiple languages, but all translating to the same phrase, "Leave it buried, or it will take you too." Even historians were baffled. Old maps showed landmarks that no longer existed, but some patterns matched exactly the outlines found on the empty land. It was as if the city left breadcrumbs, warnings for anyone who dared to investigate. These clues made one terrifying thing clear. The city wasn't just gone. It was watching. It had left messages, hints, and warnings, and anyone who came too close could become part of the mystery themselves.
All the theories, the clues, the whispers, they led to one horrifying possibility. The city didn't vanish by accident. It was taken. Taken by something beyond human understanding. Whistleblowers, retired investigators, and researchers who spoke off the record claimed that what occurred was not natural, not accidental, and certainly not temporary. The city was trapped in a liminal space, a place between realities, a realm where time, space, and life itself were twisted. Some say it was an experiment gone wrong. Others whisper of forces older than humanity, manipulating the world like a chessboard. Every investigation that came close was quietly shut down. Reports were deleted. Scientists disappeared. Journalists were silenced. The forbidden truth is terrifying because it suggests this is not the first time it has happened. Centuries-old records speak of entire villages disappearing overnight. entire civilizations erased without a trace. And every time, the same pattern emerged: silence, denial, and the faint echo of people calling out from somewhere else. Those who know claim that the city is still there, frozen in a shadow dimension, waiting, watching, and perhaps waiting for the right conditions to return. And here's the worst part. Some experts believe this process isn't finished. The vanishing might happen again. The city could return, or something else might step through the void it left behind. If this truth is true, then the world around us is far more fragile than anyone realizes. Entire communities, even entire cities, could vanish. And the reasons? We may never know. The forbidden truth is simple but terrifying. The city wasn't destroyed. It wasn't erased. It was hidden. And whatever hid it is still out there.
After the city vanished, the world tried to move on, but nothing was ever the same. Nearby towns reported strange occurrences almost immediately. People heard echoes of laughter and crying carried on the wind, even though no one was there. Streetlights would flicker in patterns that resembled Morse code, almost like a message from the lost city itself. Families of the missing waited in vain for answers. Some refused to believe the official reports, clinging to the hope that their loved ones were alive, somewhere beyond reach. Yet every attempt to search the empty valley was blocked. Restricted zones, warning signs, and sudden natural hazards kept investigators and journalists at bay. The media quickly lost interest, leaving the mystery to fester online in forums and shadowy corners where theories ran wild. But those who dared to dig deeper started noticing a pattern. Nearby areas seemed different. Streets that were once bustling fell silent overnight. Homes emptied without explanation. Pets vanished. Cars were found abandoned on roads leading nowhere. It was as if the vanishing of the city had set off a chain reaction in motion. The fear wasn't just about one lost city anymore. It was about the possibility that any place, any town, could vanish next. Governments issued vague statements. Scientists offered cautious theories, but no one had answers. And the people who had once called the city home? They disappeared from memory as quickly as the city itself. Maps erased them, records deleted them, history tried to forget them. The aftermath left only questions. How could an entire city vanish? Was it natural, supernatural, or something beyond comprehension? And most terrifying of all, if it could happen once, what's to stop it from happening again? Even now, years after the city vanished, the question remains, unanswered. Where did it go? Was it pulled into another dimension? Was it taken by forces beyond our understanding? Or is it still out there, watching us, waiting for the right moment to return? Some say the city left a warning, hidden in plain sight. Others believe it was a test, a reminder that the world we think we control is fragile, temporary, and far stranger than we can imagine. And what of the people who lived there? Are they trapped somewhere we cannot reach, or did they simply cease to exist? Every answer leads to more questions, and every theory is more disturbing than the last. Perhaps the most terrifying possibility of all is this. The vanishing didn't end with that one city. It could happen again, anywhere, anytime. So the next time you hear a story about a missing town, a vanished village, or a city erased overnight, remember this. The world is bigger, darker, and far more mysterious than anyone dares to admit. And one question remains, echoing in the minds of those who know the story. If it happened once, what's to say it won't happen again?
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell for more. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. See you in the next one. Bye for now.